looking list here.
It looks like
playing green, white. He's playing. Looks like Naya.
yeah, he's got a Naya mid-range deck here.
Somehow I must have been looking at the other list and thought I saw blue in the deck too. That's what threw me off. For a second I thought he was playing Rug, but no, it's a Naya list. So last week we saw Naya Humans take down the Standard Open at Star City Games Indianapolis. This is quite a different list. This list goes much bigger. This is not a Humans variant. This is just pretty much big Naya. You've got 4 Arbor Elf and 4 Avacyn's Pilgrim to kind of get things started. But hopefully if you get one of those on turn 1, turn 2 you've got Loxodon Smiter, 4 of those. And then you've got Restoration Angel, Thragtusk, Thundermaw Hellkite, Aurelia the War Leader × 2, and Angel of Serenity. You can see Brian did something very nice for us and actually just put them in order by casting calls. I always like when they do that. You can kind of see how the curve goes.
I feel like I put them like that because as I get to know my deck lists, I kind of memorize them by deck lists.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So.
And if you are at a point in the game where you want to be serious about your game, I generally think by the time you get to a tournament, you should have your deck list memorized.
Absolutely. I 100% agree.
Unless it's like brand spanking new and brewed that day.
Yeah. But even then, like, you should probably try to know your list inside and out, because where that really comes into play is you are behind and you need an out and you have to think, what are my outs?
Yeah.
What can I do to win this game?
Like, you might think to yourself, all I need to do is draw that one artifact. I just need to draw that one artifact that's in my deck, and if I do, I'll win. And if you don't actually have it in your deck at that point...
Yeah, if you might have maybe discarded a turn 1 to a Raven's Crime because you were playing Legacy against somebody playing a weird Spellweaver Helix deck.
What are you talking about?
I don't know.
John Walls on the left here, playing a deck that is a little more controlling than what we saw last round in the hands of Kevin Jones. And by a little more controlling, he has Supreme Verdicts and Mizium Mortars in his deck. And a little more control elements overall. Less creatures. It looks like he's actually planning on winning on the back of a Resolved Assemble the Legion or riding a Restoration Angel, of which he only has 3 angels.
But now, this is the second deck in a row that we've seen 2 main deck Assemble the Legions.
No real action yet. We do have a Farseek on turn 2 for this Naya mid-range deck.
It looks like Brian is on the play here.
You might be wondering what he's splashing. He's splashing. It's a green base, splashing into Smiter, Restoration Angel, Thundermaw Hellkite, Aurelia the War Leader, Angel of Serenity, and Mizium Mortars.
Mizium Mortars Overload is quite a tall order, but you can see he's already got 2 out of the 3 red mana necessary to overload Mizium Mortars. That's something that concerns me. Looking at Mizium Mortars, I'm like, am I going to have 3 red?
He does.
To overload it?
He has 9 lands that produce red and 4 Farseeks to get 5 of those lands.
In fact, he's got at least 2 red producers in hand, and there's one of them, Rootbound Crag for Braun, Duin. Think Twice from John Walls. Being on the draw, and your opponent also Farseeked, at this point, you feel so far behind, and you look across the table and see 4 lands to your 2. But 3rd land there from John Walls, and end of turn Restoration Angel from Brian.
Now, Braun Duin's deck does not have very many ways to win, so if he gets a Restoration Angel into play, his deck actually becomes decidedly more dangerous than otherwise. John Walls using Azorius Charm to put that Restoration Angel back on top.
Garrick from Brian. Garrick Primal Hunter is going to make a beast.
That Garrick resolving is absolute insanity.
Yeah,
John Walls is in real trouble right now. With his hand, what does he have? A
Thought Scour, a Sphinx's Revelation, I believe a Searing Spear, which could help him get out of the situation if somehow that Garrick puts itself within range of it, but don't know that that's going to happen. You see the Thought Scour cast there at the end of turn. John untaps with 3 lands. He's got his 4th land drop. He's also got
we saw him draw a land off of his Thought Scour, This is a classic case of end-of-your-turnitis. He missed a land drop, did not use the thought score during his main phase.
I don't think he missed a land
no,
drop.
yeah, he did. He had, because look, 3, 4, I'm wrong, the Farseek. I got tricked by Farseek from Braun Duin, my bad.
Yeah. But that is something that we may see this weekend, and it is a good point. A lot of times, if you have a way to dig into a land on your main phase, you don't have a land, it's much better to cast it main phase and hopefully find a land drop than wait until the end of your opponent's turn, in most cases. So a Thrag Tusk for Brian here.
Oh, geez, that is a threat of possibly 5 cards drawn by Brian if he wants.
Brian has the Beastie Boys on his side.
And he says, I like 5 cards.
Yeah.
Is there going to be a response? Nope.
No response. And so that's something that I like to see. I think that's a excellent use of Garruk. Turn 1, okay, make a beast. Don't waste the Garruk. But the second time, just if you can draw even 3 cards, go ahead and just put the Garruk on 1. Drawing 3 cards. If John goes ahead and Searing Spears Garruk, which I imagine he's going to do, you've gotten 4 cards out of Garruk. The 3 you drew and the beast. That's fine. And 5 if you count the Searing Spear you got from your opponent.
John actually has an interesting play here. You can lay the Restoration Angel into play right now and use that to attack the Garruk.
Yeah, so if he finds a way to
he shoots the Thrag Tusk.
So he's going with a completely different plan than either of us were talking about.
The way he's going to probably follow this up with a Supreme Verdict, perhaps?
And he draws Assemble the Legion, I believe, off the top. He does not have Verdict in hand. He has Restoration Angel, Sphinx's Revelation, Assemble the Legion, and 2 lands, Steam Vents and Sacred Foundry. So I guess he's thinking maybe he can play Assemble the Legion here, but he has to shock himself.
I think he might just put a land into play tapped and sit back on Angel.
I think that's what I would do, but that's the decision he's making. He was deciding between, I think. So he plays the Steam Vents tap, passes back. He's going to take quite the hit from some beasts here.
Another beast.
And another beast from Brian.
Ouch. Gavany Township ruins John Wall's plan.
Not going to be able to block and kill any of those beasts. In fact, it's going to be killed in combat with those beasts if Brian leaves mana up to activate the township, which I imagine he will. Seeing 4 mana open on the other side, any one of which adding white, you kind of know Restoration Angel is very likely. So he's going to swing in with all 3, including the Pilgrim.
I think the Pilgrim's going to get blocked.
John's like, well, I guess I better just take the safe route here. Block Pilgrim, take 6, and he'll be able to take out Garruk next turn, presuming Brian doesn't have a spear or something for the Angel.
I see a Mizium Mortars in his hand.
Mizium Mortars will also do the trick, and in fact, it may just do it right here. There it is, Mizium Mortars, your Angel. And I'll also play Thrag Tusk. I mean, that's not a bad turn.
Yeah, and now we see the situation where John had a plan to get rid of Garruk, and his plan just went awry. He could have burned Garruk. There'd be 1 less beast in play.
Yep.
And now that Garruk is definitely going to work at least 1 more time.
Yep, so John, with no more burn spells, plays that Sacred Foundry tapped, now deciding between Angel and Assemble the Legion, just as he was last time.
Yeah, I mean, and the problem he's at right now is that he is facing down 14 damage even before the pump, 18 damage after the pump.
He's in trouble, and this is the downside of Assemble the Legion. You see, it's not doing anything for him if he were to play it there. It does absolutely nothing when you're behind. Unless you can find time to let it do work. He does have Sphinx's Revelation, though. So I imagine, though, that he's going to cast Angel here. Doesn't have much mana to get anything out of the Sphinx's Revelation. He can draw 2. So he's going to have to Angel here. Yep.
It's going to be a
Angel
chump.
In front of Thrag Tusk. And looks like Gavany Township going to work here for Brian. And that's going to knock John to 2. 1 counter on all 3 beasts there. Those are 4/4 beasts.
John, no matter what he draws here, because of his hand, there are no outs for John any longer. If he has a Supreme Verdict, he still dies.
To the resulting beast left over from Thrag Tusk.
Actually, I am incorrect. He could cast Augur of Bolas and get into a Supreme Verdict from that.
He would have to cast the Augur
after
the verdict.
That doesn't work either.
Yeah, he needs to go. He would need.
Yeah, so I go back to my original point. There is no draw that he had to get him out. And might as well just draw 3 cards. Why not?
So draw 3, go up to 5. I don't know what you're hoping to draw here.
I mean, I guess he's hoping to knock about 8 seconds off of the game.
Yeah, that's it. So
Game
that was
one.
Game one handshake there from John Walls. Too many beasts. Beast overload. Mizium Mortar's not overloaded, but still did quite the job dealing with Restoration Angel. But as you mentioned, you saw what it was that really turned that game, or put that game in Brian's favor.
Garrick on turn 4.
Yeah, turn 4 Garrick, get a beast, draw 3 cards off the Garrick, and then Garrick stuck around for a couple more turns where I didn't even think it was going to. I thought we were going to see Searing Spear the Garrick or Angel end of turn attack Garrick. Instead, he Searing Spear Thragtusk and then untapped, thinking I'm going to surprise block with Angel, and it'll stick around. But Gavany Township put the brakes on that.
I mean, scenario. I actually think that the right play there. Obviously, this is in retrospect. So retrospect, you get to do a lot of things maybe that aren't necessarily so realistic. Is end of turn Restoration Angel, and then attack Garrick.
I like that plan.
The Garrick is gone.
You have a permanent.
There's an Angel in play.
Right. You also made use of all 4 mana. As well. Like you had 4 mana open. You're not. There's no fallow mana as.
You've got your spear ready.
Yeah. You still have your spear there. So I agree. I think Angel was the correct play there. It has been brought up on Twitter, and I like to mention, Brian calls this list Colonel Mustard. I think. But only because of Assemble the Legion in the board that uses muster counters. I think this is the exact list that he used in his video. And
he has written the word Colonel Muster on the
does he have
on the archetype list.
I like it.
For those of you who are just joining us, I'm Adrian Sullivan here in the booth with the one and only Joey Pasco. And we are bringing you awesome Magic all weekend here at the StarCityGames.com Open Series here live in Washington, D.C., the nation's capital. This is SCG Live.
Looking at the archetype field on John's deck list, you white-red, not Chantments is his deck name.
Not Chantments?
Not Chantments. I don't know that I get it, because he's definitely playing to Assemble the Legion, which last time I checked are enchantments, but that's what it says.
From the sideboard for Braun Duin, I actually predict that in this matchup, Assemble the Legion is a very reasonable card for him to bring in. And I could see Boros Charm also being useful. Boros Charm is the little surprise counterspell that people don't necessarily realize. So when you're playing a deck like this, which is heavy on creatures, Boros Charm's primary mode is to counterspell effectively a Supreme Verdict.
Yeah.
Or some other weird block thing.
Right, it is the one way that you can counter a Supreme Verdict, even though it is uncounterable.
And by counter, what we mean there is negating the effects. Yeah. And that's white-red. One of the modes is your creatures gain indestructible. Now, in a lot of other decks, Boros Charm's primary mode is target player takes 4 damage.
Yeah, and it can do that too.
It can do it. It's just Braun Duin has it in his sideboard here primarily just as a nixing for the problem of a Wrath of God.
Speaking of Wrath of God, John has 2 main deck Supreme Verdict, 2 main deck Mizium Mortars as his removal suite there, but in the board he's got an additional 1 of each. I imagine he brings those in. He also could theoretically bring in a couple of copies of Negate here, because you saw how that Garrick changed that game. You do not want to let Garrick resolve, but that's debatable as far as bringing in the Negates just to deal with Planeswalkers. You could also deal with the Boros Charm, of course, but the primary threats in Brian's deck are creatures.
I feel like Negate is one of those traps when it comes to Garrick, because there are so few other targets that it ends up just not being what you need to do.
It is a trap that a lot of people fall into, and I can see it happening here. I can see myself falling into that trap as well.
Unfortunately, I mean, it's Garrick in a deck that has very few actual non-creature spells is such a potent weapon against people that are playing counter spells. It's just very hard to fight.
Now, if John saw Brian's list, oh, look at that, we changed the name, Colonel Muster. I'm sorry, Colonel Muster, it says. So. No, but Brian's list there, if he happened to have seen it, he knows that Brian also has assembled a Legion. So that might be another juicy target for negate if he's thinking about bringing it in. He says, I want to deal with Garrick. Oh, also, if he brings in assembled a Legion, I've got another answer to that. Because as far as detention spheres go, which is a nice answer to assemble the Legion, I don't see one in John 75. I don't see any other, no erase or ray of revelation in John's list either. Of course, ray of revelation would not be very effective when you can't flash it back.
The game opens with a turn 1 land from John, followed by turn 1 Arbor Elf from Brian, and then John wisely plays Kill the Elf game.
Yep, bolt the bird.
Rest in peace from Brian Braun Duin. No graveyards, he says. He's presuming he's going to be fighting against Snapcaster, which is in this deck. And the other card that he could be hitting here is the Singleton Think Twice.
Now, if you're John here on the play, not seeing your opponent turn 2 Farseek is a nice, nice thing to see. Although the Rest in Peace is not ideal ideal for John.
Azorius Charm.
Yep.
John Walls, 4 mana, lays an Augur of Bolas.
Augur resolves. Let's see. Does he hit a spell? He does
Whiff.
not hit a spell. He sees a Restoration Angel, puts that in the top of the 3, and then leaves 2 lands at the bottom.
Yep. If we get another 40 turns into the game, or 40 cards into the game, he'll get that Restoration Angel.
Yeah. Yeah. In hand, it looks like Revelation, Snapcaster, Searing Spear, and land for John Walls. Brian.
John Walls looks like he's in great shape right now.
Not facing down any threats from Brian, so that's step 1. Brian's hand looks maybe a little flooded. You see Gavany Township, you see Rootbound Crag come down, and then a Thragtusk. So there's a threat. John does not have a counterspell for which a Thragtusk resolves.
See a land.
John plays a basic mountain. He's going to cast Mizium Mortars on the Thragtusk.
This is a fight that Brian Braun Duin is happy to do. He just had his Thragtusk eat a card, and then back comes a beast. So he is certainly in advantage from that.
This just in. Thragtusk is good.
Thragtusk is good. Brian lays Gavany Township.
He's got, I believe, a Restoration Angel of his own. Definitely has a Boros Charm in hand.
Zo, put it on top.
All right. Azorius Charm will deal with the beast permanently.
The token filters away.
Garrick.
And boom, Garrick. This is the best quote-unquote Thragtusk you can drop. And what I mean by that is a grindy Beastmaker.
Yeah, it's a 5-mana spell that brings a beast with it if it resolves in most cases.
Yep.
And there you see the beast.
The first time that was said to me, I kind of had my mind blown open a little bit because it's so true, actually. When you're fighting in Thragtusk Wars, now this is not a Thragtusk War. The card that is the best card in a Thragtusk War is often a card like Garrick, which just keeps pumping out a stream of beasts.
So Snapcaster, end of turn from John. I believe, did he Snapcaster?
Nothing. There's
nothing?
a rest in peace.
Okay. Good call.
Here they come. And the beast eats 1. Garrick drops down to 3. John Walls is just basically doing that to make sure that the Garrick won't be able to give Brian a stream of cards without
dying himself. Yeah. So in hand, John has Azorius Charm and Sphinx's Revelation. He can Sphinx for 3 here if he wants, or he can Azorius Charm the beast. But that is a losing proposition, trading a card for a beast, a token that is just going to be replaced by Garrick repeatedly. You need to deal with that Garrick. Right now, John has no answers to it, and I think he needs to use Sphinx's Revelation to try to find an answer. So double beasts now for Brian.
Yep, Brian puts that beast into play, attacks with the other beast, and I believe John is going to say pass, and then Brian might pump with the Gavany Township.
I think when Brian passes, I think John is going to...
Nope, he just takes pass.
So he's going to Sphinx's Revelation here. He's going to draw 3, gain 3.
Smiter,
And,
counter
locks
this.
it
You
on
can't do it,
Smiter.
can you?
Well, not with the cards in his hand. Or not with any cards.
Let's draw
really.
3. Oh, you can counter it. There's a way. Mind break trap.
Nice, very nice.
Aha.
Not in standard. Okay, so he draws Dissipate, Supreme Verdict, and Augur of Bolus. So he's found an answer to the guys on board. He still does not have an answer to Garrick.
There is no direct answer in John Wall's deck to Garrick other than damage.
Yeah, and he does have 3 copies of Searing Spear main deck. He assumes some of those stayed in. He's thinking about using Supreme Verdict here. He is at a healthy 20, which is surprising given the board state.
Given that he's at that healthy 20, I think it's the time to lay the Legion.
Does he have Legion? I don't think he has Legion. That is a Supreme Verdict.
Oh,
in his
is it?
hand. Yeah.
Oh, okay. The foil made
the
it
foil
hard to-
John Avon buy a box promo. Yeah, the foil makes it look a little like a symbol of Legion. But that's Supreme Verdict.
Oh,
And
Doctor.
there is that
Counter
Boros
smell. Okay.
And yeah,
Oh.
John just uses Verdict to destroy his own Augur of Bolus, and that is not where he wants to be.
And look at that. He's got 2 mana up. Boros Charm here. What we're seeing is the mode, permanents you control are indestructible.
So Verdict resolved just fine, but Brian's permanents just were not affected by it. So Augur of Bolus #2 for John Walls. What did he find? Did he find anything? I think he whiffed because he had that Azorius Charm and he had that Dissipate.
I think what we're going to see here is we're going to see a pump on the Gavney Township. And
3 land, it was
yeah.
a whiff, okay.
And then after the pump, I think Garrick's going to draw 5 cards.
I agree. I like that play from Brian.
Opponent tapped out.
Yep, you're in good shape. I don't know that it's. I don't know that you can be in much better shape than Brian's in right now.
Oh, he just
Oh,
goes for
he's gonna
4.
draw now.
4
Okay,
cards is
interesting.
fine.
Draws Thundermaw Hellkite. Now that changes the math too. And apparently
Oh,
Aurelia the Warrior.
Aurelia. Wow.
Okay, so that is even better. This is better shape than I thought.
That
Brian.
is incredible.
So I'm going to play
Boom.
Aurelia.
Okay, that's the
And,
first attack.
Yeah,
so
everybody
that's,
attacks. Smiter gets blocked. Attack #2. Wow.
That is it.
Aurelia certainly did.
I have this Dissipate.
Which, yeah, just in case.
And Brian's like, yes, you do.
Yeah, that Boros Charm was ridiculous blowout. That was. There's the argument where you can say Boros Charm maybe is the best charm.
I love Boros Charm.
It is a great charm, and I think when it was spoiled, I thought it was the best charm. I thought it was going to trump Azorius Charm, but I think for all-around versatility.